This regular meeting of the Detroit Lake City Council is called to order. At this time, I'd like to invite all of you to please stand and join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is approval of the regular agenda. And I would entertain a motion, unless there's somebody that wants to add or deduct any items from the regular agenda, I would entertain a motion for its approval.
So moved. Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the regular agenda. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The consent agenda is before the council. All items with an asterisk are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen requests, in which event the item will be removed from the general order of business and considered separately in its normal sequence on the agenda. Is there any items that any of the council members or members of the audience wish to remove or add to the consent agenda?
Mayor, item 6I.
Okay,
Your Honor, 8A.
6I and 8A, are there any others? I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda with those two changes.
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. The minutes of the regular city council meeting, which was held on October 14th, 2025, are before the council. Is there anyone in the audience or any member of the council that wishes to make any changes to those minutes? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for their approval.
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes of the city council meeting held on October 14th. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Kim Betcher is here from the Detroit Lakes Community and Cultural Center, and she would like to address the council regarding a recap of our summer rec program. Welcome, Kim. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Again, Kim Betcher from the DLCCC. I did give a handout for you, so I'm not going to read the details. I do want to say that we had a really great summer of programs, events, and activities kind of throughout the community. I also want to start by thanking Sean King, who happens to be here, but Sean and Tom for helping to make the transition of Dave's retirement as smooth as possible. For those of you that don't know, Dave Harmon did step down after a lot of years with us, and so they helped as well as Nate Eidenshank. He stayed on. He was going to step down also, but he stayed on with me for the summer for the transition, helping out at Snappy Ballpark and the fields and things. Our summer rec and program in the city park continue to have strong numbers. Between 50 and 60 kids weekly are coming through there. Depends on the day. We might have 50 in one day or 30 in one day. It's just lots of activities. The weather was great this summer for us. Didn't have a lot of rainouts and things. So again, we had just a variety of things happening down there. Our Happy Bats, which also takes place at the rec field down there. We had 33 kids up from a handful last year. And those kids had a lot of fun. For those of you that don't know, that's like our 4- and 5-year-olds. And so, trying to keep them from building sandcastles and things in the infield is good. But we had a great crew of kids helping to run that program for us. We also had some new tennis lesson staff, and that was another successful program. We offer tennis lessons at that the rec courts, and we have 2 different sessions. And so again, just lots of activity down there. Out at the Snappy Ballpark fields, once again, we had our Little League, Major League, and Minor League programs. Those are coach-led activities. Minor League is coach pitch, and then they start to go up from there. Again, lots of young people getting out and being active in the field, so that's lots of fun. T-ball is always a huge program for us. I think I said there was 96. There's actually probably over 100 once you have the kids that were late signups and things. But that's lots of fun, and that would be that 5- and 6-year-old, or 6 and 7. 6 and 7, 5 and 6-year-olds down in there. So that's lots of fun. The cool thing this year, we had our softball program, which has always had, I think the number, again, I put 33. After I printed this, it was closer to 40 because we did have some walk-up late signups. But the thing with softball, because we are a rec program, we are not the travel program. Our community also supports a U10, U12, some travel softball. We actually held kids this year, so typically before the 4th of July, the numbers start to drop off. We're getting 20 kids. It's hard to get 2 games going, a game going, things like that. This, in large part because of the staff that we had on, we actually held 35 kids to 37 kids coming weekly through the entire 6-week program. So again, that's just a testament to kind of kids being interested and engaged, and there was lots of fun down there with that. Adult Softball League, again, we had the 9 teams, the standard kind of 9 teams, 12 players. We have some opportunity potentially. We've been contacted by some teams who might be coming from outside our community that want to play in our league. They know it's competitive, things like that. So we are looking at hopefully doing some expansion next summer. Again, we'll kind of see how many more teams we can, with only one lit field, there's only so much scheduling we can do there. But we are excited that people want to come here to play. So I think that's, again, a testament to our facilities and kind of how things are going. The adult softball tournament, I did convince Dave to come back and help me with that. We have literally hundreds of people down there over the course of 2 days. That was men's and women's. I think it was 32 men's teams and 6 women's teams, which is up from last year. We had 4 women's teams last year. So that is over Water Carnival. And then just some other things, and again, I'm not going to go into the numbers necessarily, but we had our summer day camp, 45 kids average per day. Our swim lessons, I thought this is a really cool number that I discovered, but our swim lessons that aren't technically part of the rec program, but our swim lessons, we give swim lessons in the spring and summer to almost 500 kids, or 500 touches, which is a huge number. So some of those numbers might be a kid taking 2 levels back to back, but it's still a lot of swim lessons that are happening in our community, and people coming outside our region to our facility to do those, because again, with our Red Cross swim lessons, they know they're getting a quality lesson there. Spring track, again, numbers of kids participating in things, 120 kids, which is huge for just 4th, 5th, and 6th graders. Sunfish swim team dive camps, and then now this fall, you can see the front and back. We offer a variety of other things. Youth volleyball, youth basketball, adult women's softball. Thank you for, we're gonna be offering an event, the pickleball Pints and Play event coming up. But I do want to point out the flag football opportunity that we have. We did pull out and offer a 7-on-7 flag football for the first time for those older kids. For those of you that don't know, there is tackle football for upper elementary kids, also middle school. But we are finding that, and we were getting requests over the last couple of years for people that maybe they're not ready to quite tackle yet, but they do want to still play. And so we did expand our flag football program and added another 25 kids to it just by offering that extra activity for them. For those of you that don't know, the flag football is going to be in the Olympics. Concordia University offers collegiate flag football sponsored by the Minnesota Vikings. So flag football is becoming bigger, and we are excited to be kind of on the forefront of that, using snappy ball fields, outfields to do that in the fall. So again, we're excited. Lots of things. We have some more ideas coming up. Our new person did start. I do have help for those of you that don't know and saw me this summer. We do have Chase Flink on board. He's our new sports rec coordinator, so he and I will be working together on new programs. But anybody have any questions for me?
Well, just great job, Kim. I saw you down there quite a bit, and you're just, you were kind of thrown into the situation, and just really appreciate all your hard work. So
yeah, it was lots of fun, and there's lots of things we got to bring. Looking at you, we got to bring a pickleball tournament this summer, which was huge for our community too. We had 140 unique registrations, which again, impacting our community in different ways through recreation. So we're excited. So thank you.
Any more questions for Kim? Nice job. Thanks,
Thank you.
Kim. Appreciate it. At this time, I'm going to adjourn the regular meeting and call to order a public hearing to receive public comments on the establishment of redevelopment project number 45, the redevelopment plan and establishment of tax increment financing district 45-1, the port on Little Detroit. And I'm going to call on Larry Remen at this time to introduce this. Larry?
Yes, this is a tax increment financing project for the former bowling alley property. The development will contain 14 townhome units. The developer is requesting $1.8 million in tax increment financing for this approximately $18 million project. The Development Authority has reviewed this and has held a public hearing and has approved the redevelopment plan and the TIF plan. Now the City Council has to hold a public hearing on those same plans and either approve or deny those plans. That's basically it in a nutshell. The TIF would be used for site preparation. They're going to be spending upwards of $900,000 just for the footings, the pier footings for the buildings.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that has any questions or wishes to make any comments regarding the Tax Increment Financing District 45-1? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed, and I would entertain a motion from the council. Wendy?
Mayor, the Community Development Committee did review this with Mr. Remen, and we unanimously recommend to the council to approve the resolution approving redevelopment project number 45 and the redevelopment plan therefore, and approving tax increment financing District 45-1 and the tax increment financing plan therefore, and authorizing an interfund loan.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a motion regarding the redevelopment project number 45, the redevelopment plan and establishment of tax increment financing district 45-1. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. Thank you. Without objection, I'd like to take the first three Community Development Committee items, so I would call on Chairwoman Spry, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 5A is consideration to approve a variance allowing a 6-foot high fence in the front yard at 1397 Borough Road. And I will hand it off to, am I not?
Yeah, you
Sorry.
good. There you go.
Better?
That's
Should I
better.
repeat? Am I good? Okay. I'm going to hand it off to Larry Remen to,
The Planning Commission held a public hearing on this matter, and they have recommended approval of a 6-foot high fence in the front yard at this location. It's because this lot is very low, and a 3-foot high fence wouldn't provide the required screening that the applicant is trying to achieve here.
Okay,
thank you. The Community Development Committee did review this afternoon and unanimously recommend to the council that we approve the resolution approving the variance allowing the 6-foot high fence in the front yard at 1397 Borough Road.
is there a second?
So move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt a resolution approving a variance at 1397 Borough Road. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Item 5B is consideration to approve another variance. This is for 2 5-foot side yard setbacks for a home at 150 Shorewood Drive. And again, I'll hand it off to Larry Remen to talk about this.
This is a request from Drew Larson for 2 5-foot side yard setbacks. The normal setback is 10 feet. There's an existing house on the lot now that one of the side yard setbacks is basically 0. It's right up against the property line. He's going to be building a new house, and the 5-foot side yard setbacks are necessary because the lot is narrow. It's 50 feet or less wide.
Okay,
All right, thank you. The CDC did review this afternoon, and we unanimously recommend to the council that we approve the resolution approving the variance allowing 2 5-foot side yard setbacks for construction of a home at 150 Shorewood Drive, and I so move.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded to approve a variance at 150 Shorewood Drive. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And 5C, consideration to approve a non-conforming use expansion permit at 702 Westlake Drive, and I will let Larry speak to this as well.
This is a request from Tim and Curlis Westbrook to enlarge the coffee shop at the Lakes Inn property. The coffee shop will be enlarged from 238 feet to 900 and some odd feet. This would also require a variance because there would be 9 additional parking spaces that would be needed. The Planning Commission has recommended approval of the variance, allowing the applicant to provide the 9 spaces within 400 feet of their property, which would be on the fairgrounds property. The Fair Board has been looking at this and has expressed an interest in working with the owners to make that happen.
Thank you. CDC reviewed this again this afternoon, and we are in unanimous agreement to recommend to the council that we approve the resolution to approve the non-conforming use expansion permit to enlarge the coffee shop within an existing structure and to a parking lot variance to allow 9 off-site parking spots to satisfy the parking requirements at 702 Westlake Drive. And I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a non-conforming use expansion permit and a variance at 702 Westlake Drive. Discussion on the motion?
I would just point out that Mr. Redmond shared with us this afternoon that at the Planning Commission, somebody from the Fair Board was actually there to speak to the request for the 9 parking
Yes, I
spots. So
believe
there's a
Brant
pretty
Bigger
solid plan for that.
It was Brant Bigger from the Fair Board.
Okay, thank you.
Any further? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I believe we have one person, Pam Benedict is here, then signed up for the public forum. So I would call on Pam at this time. If you would come up to the podium, please. And you're at 1209 and 12 through 1217 Westlake Drive, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And I'm not gonna go over all the rules, Pam. I think you've been here before, but if you get too far off course, we'll
You'll
jump
go
in.
to sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm back because there was no action on my request to please hang the Minnesota flag. I was here last month. I don't know how to get the council to approve that idea to rehang the flag. We deserve it. I kind of feel like the parents who took away my Halloween candy and I didn't do anything bad. So I feel really like this is not something that I deserve. I'm proud of our flag, whatever color it is, and we should be hanging it. Look at all the work the chamber has done, the Project 412 has done, well, the new baseball field. Really, we're not going to hang the Minnesota flag at the new pavilion. I can't even imagine that. So I don't know if I have to just bring one person with me next month, or 100 people with me, or get a long petition, or what do I have to do to convince you that this is an important thing for our city? I just am begging for your support. This is a small problem, and it's a big deal, a really big deal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else in the audience tonight that wants something moved on the agenda? If not, we'll go right back to the top. At this time, I'll adjourn the regular meeting and call to order a public hearing to receive public comments on the proposed 5-year capital improvement plan. And I'm going to call on City Engineer John Pratt to introduce this.
Mayor and council, really the final step here in the capital improvement planning process is just to have a public hearing. It's not something we're required to do, but we always think it's a good idea just to put the plan out for public comment. This is effectively the same plan that the council, that I reviewed with the council at our workshop here a month or two ago. Nothing substantially has changed in that, other than we did move Rossman Avenue up, which was at the bottom of the list as a to be determined due to some ongoing issues there that we have with some infrastructure. And that one got kind of moved to the top of the list. So we moved Rossman Avenue up to a project for 2026. Outside of that, it remains pretty unchanged. It's a variety of, placeholder projects for anticipated subdivisions, street rehabilitation type projects or pavement rehabilitation projects, water towers in there, and a variety of street and utility reconstruction projects spread out pretty well across the community. It does include maybe a little bit more of a concentrated effort on street and utility reconstruction projects up on a portion of the north side of town where we just have not probably been keeping up on some of the infrastructure up there like we need to. So we've got a fairly large project that we're putting together for that, and I can talk more about that a little bit later. But in total, we've got about $60 million that's programmed. There's nothing binding about this. It just helps us with financial planning, the ability to tell residents when they call if they're on the plan. So we'll continue to move things around as needed and as funds are available, but that is the plan. I take any questions that council or public would have.
Okay, questions? Jackie?
Yeah, John, just looking at table number 3, you've got Rossman listed in 2026, as you noted, but it's also on the TBD. So I'm assuming that would just,
Goes
you
away.
moved it up to
That
2026
is
and,
just flat out an error.
okay, well, that's okay. I just want to make sure there wasn't something else coming
No,
up with.
there's not. I
with Rossman.
simply
Okay.
forgot to delete it, so
Yeah,
we'll make
no
that
worries.
correction.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Any further questions from the council? Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the issue or have any questions about the proposed 5-year capital improvement plan? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed and I would entertain a motion.
Okay, the Public Works Committee has reviewed this, and then we give consideration to approving the resolution, approving the 5-year capital plan, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the proposed 5-year capital improvement plan. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And I want now to jump to item 7A that I forgot to do before. I'll call on Chairman Bulkey.
Thank you, Your Honor. Item 7A is a consideration approving the 2026 rates for the American Legion Campground. Kelsey from the Legion, who is with us tonight, was also at the meeting. In your packet there, you can see the other comparables. This did pass with a recommendation of increasing the short and long-term fees by $50, as well as $3 for the daily rates. This was a 2-to-1 vote as well. So I look at this and I recommend approval.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the, I lost my spot. Approve the 2026 rates for the American Legion Campground. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then we're gonna do 7B, Matt, as well?
We sure can if we're there.
Okay.
7B, consideration to accept the American Legion Campground annual financial statement. This was presented at the Finance Committee. This is kind of a technicality that gets audited every now and then. They did look at this. There was no big red flags, no slap on the wrist. It was very minor. Heidi, everything looked pretty good, correct? So this was discussed at Finance. We recommend approval, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the American Legion Campground annual financial statements and the audit report for the year ending December 31st, 2024. Discussion on the motion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you, Your Honor.
At this time, I will adjourn the regular meeting and call to order a public hearing to consider the proposed assessments for the Southwood Shores Estate Street and Utility Improvement Project, and I would call on City Engineer John Pratt.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a pretty routine hearing relative to the Southwood Shores project that we're just getting wrapped up. That project was funded largely in part by special assessments to the developer, so we're required to hold a assessment hearing. I should note we have an assessment agreement with the developer, and he has provided his required prepayment. So I'm going to be pretty brief on this. Most of you have been through these hearings before. Project's located just off of South Shore Drive. I've been working on this for a couple of years, maybe stretching back into the late part of 2024 or prior to 2025 anyway. Earlier this year, we did an engineering report, we did design, we opened bids earlier this spring, and the project just got substantially completed with construction here in the last few weeks. We will have just a little bit more work in the spring with some wear course paving and pavement, or I should say turf restoration. Prior to the project, it was an undeveloped agricultural field with no infrastructure serving the site. There was infrastructure on 270th Avenue and on South Shore Drive. As part of the project, we did the usual sanitary sewer and water main improvements and extending those, or that infrastructure into the first phase of the development. Did storm sewer and drainage improvements, including stormwater treatment. Graded in a new street, and the project did require quite a bit of site grading, basically because of how we did the stormwater treatment in this particular case. So we did end up moving quite a bit of material as part of the project. Put in a road with a flat curb rather than our typical curb in this one, again, because of the way we did the stormwater treatment. In all, total project costs were just shy of $1.3 million. Again, the larger pieces of that were the site grading and the street. You can see the rest of the costs there up on the screen. As I indicated earlier, majority of this project is funded by special assessments to the developer, with a small portion coming from the Stormwater Utility Fund. This summarizes how this all gets split out, but effectively, all of the project costs are considered accessible in this case, with the exception of stormwater, is usually a 50-50. And again, in this case, because the site grading was related to the stormwater, we included 50% of that site grading cost to be eligible for city cost participation. So the table up on the screen shows the cost participation. So you've got the city share at just a little over $200,000. That would be funded by the Stormwater Utility Fund, and then the balance at over $1 million being assessed to the improved properties. That all gets allocated in accordance with the city's special assessment policy, and in this case, we basically take those costs, or each of those elements, divide them by the number of lots, and come up with a cost for each lot. Just as a reminder, the city's policy as it pertains to subdivision development requires a 25% prepayment for projects that are under 20 lots and 50% prepayment for lots or projects over 20 lots. In this case, this project did have just slightly over 20 lots, but we basically varied from our policy since it made a lot of sense of how we were phasing this project. It wouldn't have made sense to cut it down by a few lots to get below that 20 lot threshold. So again, that 25% prepayment is required from the developer. So in this case, he has issued funds to the city in the amount of $280,000. The balance is assessed over a 20-year term following substantial completion. As an option, the developer can request a 5-year deferral followed by a 15-year term, which is what has happened in this particular case. When that's all said and done, this is how this all shakes out. You can see the assessments and the assessments per lot. You can see the prepayment. So what this amounts to, just to sort of provide a comparison for the council, is there's about $45,000 in special assessments for each of those new lots prior to that 25% prepayment. Once you take that out, $32,000 is what actually will be levied per lot. Any questions?
Is there anyone in the audience that has a question regarding the Southwood Shores Estate Street Utility project or a comment? Hearing none, that public hearing's closed, and I would entertain a motion.
Okay, the Public Works Committee has reviewed this assessment for the Southwest Shores, and we move to go ahead and approve the resolution adopting the assessment role for the Southwest Shore Estates and utility improvements, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution adopting the assessment role for the Southwood Shores Estate Street and Utility Improvement Project. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I'll call to order a public hearing to consider the proposed assessments for the Disease Trees Control Project. And I would call on our Public Works Director, Sean King. Sean?
Mayor and Council, yes, this is our annual assessment of trees, diseased and dead trees. We do a survey in the spring, we send out letters, and this is just the end product of the assessments for them trees that we had marked diseased or dead.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to ask any questions or make any comments regarding the proposed assessments for the Disease Trees Control Project? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed, and I would entertain a motion.
Okay, the Public Works Committee also has reviewed this project of disease trees control, and we go ahead to approve a resolution to adopting the assessment rule for the disease trees and for the control project, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution adopting the assessment rule for the disease trees project. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. At this time, I'll call to order a public hearing to consider the proposed assessments for the concrete bituminous curb, gutter, approaches, and sidewalk improvements for the year 2025. And again, I would call on Public Works Director Sean King.
Mayor and council, same as the diseased trees, this time of year right now, we're taking a look at all our sidewalks and roads and putting together an assessment for the spring so we can go out for bid come the spring. And then again, this time frame next year, we'll be doing the same thing with the assessment roll.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to ask any questions or make any comments regarding the proposed assessments for the concrete bituminous curb, gutter, approaches, and sidewalk improvements for the year 2025? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed, and I would entertain a motion for approval.
Okay, Mayor Brink, the Public Works Committee has reviewed this assessment for the concrete bituminous and curb gutter and approaches for sidewalks, and we go ahead and move to approve the resolution to adopt the assessment rules for the concrete bituminous and curb gutter approaches and sidewalk improvements for the year 2025, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the resolution for the assessment rule for the concrete bituminous curb, gutter, approaches, and sidewalk improvements for the year 2025. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. At this time, I'll call to order a public hearing to consider the proposed assessments for the 2025 unpaid service charges. Is that Heidi? Yeah,
It's kind of Sean again,
Sean?
but I
Okay.
can help out with it. You want to take it? You want me to take it?
I can. Mayor and council, what this is throughout the summer, when we have some trees that are dead or after we do the original assessment on the trees in the spring, we do have a few that pop up that we deem dangerous. So you'll see there's some tree nuisances and some high grass and weeds, just some people that neglect to mow their lawn. We end up mowing that, and this is what is left from that for the assessments.
Okay, so that's this handout that you had then, right?
Yes, Mayor.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak to the adoption of the assessment rule for the 2025 unpaid service charges? Hearing none, that public hearing is closed, and again, I would entertain a motion for approval.
Okay, the Public Works Committee has reviewed the assessment rolls for these unpaid services, and I'd like to mention that the amount for this year is $6,324. That's gonna be charged against people that did not take care of their own trees, their own grass, and we have to have somebody do that, and we charge you back for it. So anyway, we've reviewed this for Public Works, and we give consideration to approving the resolution adopting the assessment rules for the 2025 unpaid service charges, and I so move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and second approving a resolution adopting the assessment roll for the 2025 unpaid service charges. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. And we'll move to the balance of the Community Development Committee. Chairwoman Spry.
Thank you. Item D is a consideration for the first reading of ordinance to rezone R2 1 and 2 family residence to RM multifamily residence at 204 and 220 Willow Street East. Circle North Properties is making the application, and I will have Larry review it again. I could give it a shot, but I'll probably screw it up.
There's not much more to say.
I
This
know.
is the former Lincoln School property. It's currently zoned R2. They're requesting RM zoning for multifamily.
Okay.
CDC reviewed this and recommend that we move this forward.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to give first reading to ordinance 546, rezoning 204 and 220 Willow Street East. Discussion on the motion?
Larry, do we know how many apartment units they'll have on that property?
The developer hasn't said how many units they're proposing. The maximum number of units that that site can hold is 36 units.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions?
I want to clarify, you had mentioned during our meeting this afternoon that you thought 10 of those would be in the building that they're renovating.
Yes, they're talking about renovating the existing school structure and possibly having 10 units in that building.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First reading of ordinance 546 is given. And I think we're at the Public Works Committee, Chairman Zeman.
Yes, first item is 6A, and that's a consideration to approving an agreement with the Marshmallow Animal Shelter to operate a city pound, and I'll call on Kelsey Clem.
Mayor and council, our current 2-year agreement with the Marshmallow Animal Shelter is expiring at the end of the year. So in your packet is a new 2-year agreement to go through the end of 2027. The rates include a 4% year-over-year increase. Public Works reviewed this as well. I don't know if there's any other questions other than that.
Okay,
Okay, the committee reviewed this, and I so move that we go ahead and approve the agreement with the Marshmallow Animal Shelter to operate a city pound for the year 2026 and 2027. I so move.
Second.
motion's been made and seconded to approve the agreement with the Marshmallow Animal Shelter to operate a city pound. Discussion on the motion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, item 6B, consideration of approving a resolution authorizing the preparation of facility plan and preliminary engine reports for proposed north side utility and street reconstruction. I'll call on John Pratt to give us an update on that.
Yep, Mayor and Council, I mentioned this during the capital improvement plan public hearing. This would be the first step towards that, what we're calling the North Side Street Utility Reconstruction Project, which is it's a number of streets contained in the plan, but at present, we're looking at probably combining all of those into probably one large project. Maybe we'd split that into two, but on either case, targeting construction that would take place in 2027, 2028. So we're quite a ways in front of this, and the reason we're asking for authorization to begin some of that preliminary work is due to the funding for the project. We were hoping to use Public Facilities Authority funds, either low-interest loan or possibly some grant for that project. In order to set ourselves up for that, we got to get quite a ways out in front of all of that before we can get to construction. So tonight, I'm just asking for approval to begin that process, which would be the facility plan and the preliminary report for what would ultimately be about 30-plus blocks of street reconstruction.
Okay, thank you, John.
Okay, always glad to have work done on the north side, and the committee has reviewed this, and we give consideration to approving a resolution authorizing the preparation of the facility plan, preliminary engine reports for the proposed north side utility and street project that will be happening in 2027 and 28, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution authorizing the preparation of a facility plan preliminary engineering report for the proposed north side utility and street reconstruction project. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 6C, consideration of approving a resolution approving plans for specifications and authorizing advertisement for bids for the Westlake Drive Street and Utility Project. Call on John Pratt to give us an update.
Yep, Mayor and Council, it's a fairly important step here on a project that a lot of us have been working pretty hard on here over the last number of years, but asking for the council's approval of the plans and specs for both the Westlake Drive project and the related beach improvement project. We met with the steering committee last week, reviewed a few more items on that, but we have those plans in, we think, good condition. We're just about ready to be able to get those out to bid. We're waiting for some final approvals from MnDOT related to the federal aid funding associated with the project. Once we get that, we should be cleared to issue the advertisement for bid. So asking for the council to allow us that when that time comes.
Okay, thank you, John.
The Public Works Committee has reviewed this, and I so move that we go ahead with the resolution approving the plans and specs for bidding for advertising for this project, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution approving the plans and specifications and authorize advertisement for bids for the Westlake Drive Street and Utility Project. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The motion carries.
Okay, next item 60, consideration to approving a resolution approving plans and specs and authorized advertisement for the city beach improvements. Call on John Pratt to give us a review of this.
Nothing more to add. This is effectively just approving the same thing for just the beach portion.
Okay, with that, the committee has reviewed this, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a resolution approving plans and specifications and authorizing advertisement for bids for the city beach improvements. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries.
Okay, next item, E is consideration for approving the cooperative agreement with Becker County for the Westlake Drive and City Beach front improvement, and I'll call on John Pratt to review this for us.
Yep, Mayor and Council, this ties right back to the previous two agenda items. This would be our agreement with Becker County for the Westlake Drive and Beach project. As you guys are all aware, this is a cooperative project with Becker County since Westlake Drive is a county roadway. So this agreement's pretty standard. We've had similar agreements with Becker County in the past. This one follows very closely to those, but essentially lays out who is paying for what is the large portion of that agreement. So we've drafted that. We've provided a copy to City Council. We've also sent a copy over to Becker County for their review and approval, and hoping they'll take action on that at their next meeting. So just asking the council to approve that cooperative agreement.
All right. Thank you,
The
John.
Public Works Committee has reviewed this, and we go ahead and propose that we work with a cooperative agreement with Becker County for this project, both Westlake Drive as well as the City Beach project, and I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the proposed cooperative agreement with Becker County for the Westlake Drive and City Beach improvements. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, next item is F, consideration for accepting the city engineering monthly project report, and John, I'll have you give us a update on that.
Last item, I promise. Mayor and council wrapping things up in terms of construction really for the year. At this point, things are winding down. Southwood Shore Estates, I mentioned earlier that that one is substantially complete, short of the wear course paving and turf, which we'll finish that up in the spring. The water tower project, there has been quite a bit of activity on that over the last month with the mural or the logo and graphic, whatever you'd like to call that. They've got that pretty well buttoned up. There's a little bit of work that they're going to do on the inside of the concrete column over the next few weeks, and then I would expect work will be suspended until about March or so. Heartland State Trail Project, Alderman Zeman asked me to explain a little bit more on this one. It's kind of gotten drug out a little bit, but this is the Trailhead project over by Country Inn and Suites. This was city-owned property, has been for quite some time. We received about a $400,000 grant through MnDOT through their carbon reduction program to make some trailhead improvements to that piece of property. And so what that included was a small parking lot for folks that want to access the Heartland State Trail. They can park there and then take their bikes and get on the trail. There's also a couple of EV chargers with parking spots in that parking lot for folks that have EV cars that might be coming through town that need to charge those up. In addition to that, there are some park-like amenities that were incorporated, like a shelter. There's a porta potty screen, a couple of benches and bike racks. There's a bike fix-it station and a water fountain, some lighting, places to charge electric or e-bikes, things like that. So that project is pretty close to done, other than the turf restoration that they'll get finished up here hopefully this week. Forest Street, that one is all but done. Just wait for spring for turf maintenance and things like that. Westlake Drive Phase 3, I think we covered that sufficiently tonight already. DMRA Legacy Grant projects, again, that was a conglomeration of several different projects to be funded by that grant from the state. Most of those projects are completed or nearly completed, which would be the bike trails, parking lot, Nordic ski trail with some snowmaking and lighting. Those are pretty well done. The lingering item is a tree house that's being constructed near the lodge. That's underway but not complete just yet. Moving on, Shorewood Drive, that project wrapped up largely over the last month. It's paved, it's striped. There will be turf restoration stuff that has to be completed next spring on that. Other than that, that is pretty well completed. Nothing to really update the council on with the Highway 10 and East Shore intersection study at this point. 270th Avenue, we're working on the design on that for next summer. Linview Estates, R.L. Larson got in there. This is just a small subdivision off of Shorewood Drive, 10 lots. They got in there and got all of the underground infrastructure put in the ground over the last few weeks. So the underground's done. They might do a little bit of grading here yet, and then I imagine that we'll be suspended on that project until the spring, and they'll come back and finish up the street work then. And as I mentioned to the council, Rossman Avenue, we're working on that preliminary engineering report right now, and I'll have that ready for presentation to the council at the December council meeting. Any questions?
Thank you, John. Ron?
Okay, I have to say that we've had an awful lot of street projects this year and a lot of good engineering and along with a lot of help from many contractors. And it looks like we're gonna get the majority of our projects done before the snow falls, so we're very fortunate that all has happened. And I go ahead and move that we approve John's project status report.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the city engineer's monthly project status report. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Okay, and then I've got one more here, 6I, that we moved it from the consent agenda, and that's consideration of approving a special event application with the Detroit Lakes Regional Chamber of Commerce, a holiday parade of lights on December 1st.
Is that a motion?
That's the motion, yeah.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a special event application for the Detroit Lakes Regional Chamber of Commerce for the holiday parade of lights on December 1st. Discussion on the motion?
Mayor, I will abstain from voting on this motion as a employee of the Detroit Lakes Regional Chamber of Commerce.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries with one abstain. And that's the end of the Public Works, right, Ron?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move to the balance of the Finance Committee. Chairman Bulkey.
Thank you, Your Honor. Items 7A and 7B are complete. Moving down to 7C, consideration of approving a professional design service proposal for the library renovation project with WIDSEF. Mr. Clem.
Mayor and council, you may recall last year we were awarded a grant to do some improvements at the library, including a new roof, elevator, the freeze panels on the exterior, and some improvements to make the bathroom more ADA accessible. We finally have received that grant agreement, so now we can proceed with actually bidding out the project. So to do that, we do need a architect on board to help put together the bid package so we can competitively bid that project. And then also there's some follow-up during the construction administration to do wage verifications and different things. Not to mention, we also have to go through a SHPO review process since the building is on the Register of Historic Buildings. So in your packet is a proposal from WIDSEF to basically provide that consulting service to the city. At this point, would recommend approval so we can proceed with the project.
Thank you. We did discuss this at length at Finance Committee, and I move this forward with approval.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a professional design services proposal for the library project with WIDSEF. Discussion on the motion? All in favor?
I'm wondering, Kelsey, if you could tell us what the projected cost for the project is so the public knows what the cost of this improvement project is.
Yes, the overall total project cost was estimated at 1.5 million. The grant from state of Minnesota, I want to say 750,000, but then I'll be corrected. It's actually $749,999. So
Thank you.
Can I just want a little clarification. So this cost on this document is the entire cost. Are there additional costs that will incur for the architect?
Yes. Yeah.
this should be the total cost for the project from the architect. This includes the construction administration. They intend to bill it hourly with a not to exceed amount, which is that 7.5% of the project cost.
Okay, any further questions?
Well, I'd just like to say we had a lot of discussion on this because we know that money doesn't go as far as it used to, and we're hoping that we can get all the items that need to be done, from the roofing to the terracotta panels, elevator, everything. It's a lot of project to do for $1.5 million, and I hope we can make it.
Okay. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the motion carries. And we are down to the Public Safety Committee. Chairman Dahlman, you have one item, I believe. Eight, is it? 8A.
Yeah, 8A, consideration to approving a parade permit for the Detroit Lakes Regional Chamber of Commerce. I move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve a parade permit for the Detroit Lakes Regional Chamber of Commerce. Jackie, you're intending to abstain again?
I will, Your
All
Honor,
right.
thank you.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries with Jackie's abstaining. And we're down to the Liquor Gambling Control Committee. Chairman Stearns, do you have anything on the agenda?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we do have item 9A. It does not require any action, but the Liquor and Gambling Control Committee did review the 2026 budget for the liquor store because it had not been reviewed in August. So no action, but just informational purposes. And
Okay.
it'll be voted on in December.
And Mike, why don't you just continue, because we
All right.
have 3 items on the Public Utilities Commission. and
Oh,
You can introduce.
item 10A. This morning, the Public Utilities Commission did meet, and there were 3 bids that were reviewed. First one is 10A. This is for a 115 kilovolt control panel. And the motion was to approve a bid for $253,125 to Electrical Power Products, Inc. They were the only bidder, but they did come in, the original engineer's estimate was around $340,000, so it was coming in lower than their estimate. So Public Utilities recommends approval, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the bids and to award the contract for the 115 kV control panels to Electric Power Products Incorporated. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Next up is item 10B, and that was for some site work. There were 3 bids on that one. The original engineer's estimate was around $700,000, but that did include holding our pond, which was estimated to be around $300,000 to $400,000, I believe. So that was excluded from it. Haug Incorporated did come in with a bid of $189,299.75. The other ones ranged up into $500,000, so definitely the most favorable bid. Engineer company did recommend it. So Public Utilities Commission reviewed, recommended approval, and I so move.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the bids and award the contract for site work related to the jet substation to Haug Incorporated. Discussion?
Just want to say thank you to Hogs Incorporated for a great bid for us.
Further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Third item, 10C, was consideration to accept a bid for a black start generator. There are 2 pieces to that. There's $343,584 for the main piece, and then a day tank adder. I have no idea what that is. $18,930 for that as well. And that is the engineering company recommended approval of providing the bid to Ziegler. Public Utilities Commission reviewed it, recommend approval, and I so move.
Second it.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the bids and award the contract for black start generator for the new generation project to Ziegler. Discussion on the motion?
What is a black start generator?
Purnell?
Mayor and council. Good question. When the grid goes down, that means the distribution system down and the transmission system is down. There's no power available to provide power to the ancillary services. That would be the lube oil pump, fuel pumps, cooling systems, and so on. So typically, if you're not tied to the grid, you need some other power source to get those systems up and running to start the generator. So the Black Start generator provides power for those three functions and the starter motor. The starter motor alone for the jet turbine is 500 horsepower, so it takes a significant amount of energy to get that thing turning over. And this is what a Black Start generator does. It provides power to a generator when the grid is down.
Keeps the lights on.
Keeps the light on.
There you go.
I appreciate that now. I know what I'm voting on. No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay, we need to vote though, don't we?
Yes.
We did?
No, we need to.
That was a long time ago. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I don't have a recommendation for the Arts and Culture Commission, but I'm working on it. I would like to recommend the reappointment of Sean Carlson to the Planning Commission. And I would entertain a motion.
I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to reappoint Sean to the Planning Commission. Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. I have reached out to Jenna, but I haven't heard back from her regarding her position on the Planning Commission, so I'll hopefully have something for next month. I would like to recommend the reappointment of Kelsey McCombs to the Planning Commission, and I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to reappoint Kelsey McCombs to the Planning Commission. Discussion. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. A couple of announcements. At our December council meeting, we will have the 2025 budget and tax levy, which is pursuant to the truth and taxation requirements, and that'll be at 6:01 PM during our meeting. The Canadian Pacific Holiday Train is also going to be in Detroit Lakes on Tuesday, December 16th, and they always make a nice donation to our local food pantry. The balance of the city council meeting date is listed. The 2026 joint governments meeting dates are listed, and the 2026 city council meeting dates are listed on the agenda. Anything from the city staff that needs to be brought forward?
Mayor, one thing I was gonna add is, Carrie added a nice feature on our website. If you go under the advisory committee page, there's a one-page fillable form. If you're interested in serving on any of our committees here at the city, those who are watching or listening, simple form, check the boxes and maybe the different committees that you're interested in, and then we can share those with the mayor so we can keep track of when vacancies come open, maybe have a roster of eligible people to appoint. So second thing is just going to add the Washington Park bid opening that was originally scheduled for last week. We pushed that back to Tuesday, the 25th of November. So hopefully we'll have bids in hand for the December council meeting.
Okay, great. Craig, anything further?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Kelsey, city administrator. Lots on his plate for this next year. Some fantastic projects. Super excited about them, but I just really appreciate your leadership, Kelsey. Thank you.
Good. Aaron?
I'd just like to say Happy Veterans Day to my fellow veterans for tomorrow. Anybody that's signed on the dotted line.
Oh, good. Thank you. Wendy?
Nothing for me, thanks.
Ron?
I just want to say thank you to Sean King and Tom Gulong for taking good care of our city. It seemed like just yesterday it was May 1st, and here we are in November. But our streets and our parks and all that has been absolutely fantastic. I hear comments from people all the time how good our city looks, and it's these two people play a big role. And it takes a lot of people. It's not just those two, but everybody that works with them. We just appreciate all the job that you do to make us look as good as we do.
Okay, thank you. Jackie, anything further?
Nothing, Your Honor.
Matt? Nothing. Mike? Nothing. Sean?
Very briefly, my wife and I are doing our second annual event to light up the lakes. And so this is for businesses and for homes. So visit lakelightsdl.com. It's free. We just want people to help bring the cheer here to Detroit Lakes.
Okay, sounds good. The business of this council has come to a conclusion and the meeting's adjourned.